Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming Character Lost Chapter event, Dawn's Howling Shattering Illusions, featuring the debuting Kelger from Final Fantasy V. The event synergy units Kelger, Cid Highwind, Trey, Machina, Xande, and Gao. Kelger's kit, which include his FR and Burst, will be making their debut along with his FR Echo boards. Machina will be the featured returning FRBT unit. Unfortunately, Machina will not be getting his FR boards. We will be fighting two evil gays which has 350 million HP each. Both bosses do not have any major resistances. The turn requirement is 45. The HP requirements is 5000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Iris, Setzer, Rosa, Queen, Braska, Rem, Yuna, Pernello, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Selpha that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. On the screen, I have listed down the examples of the key utility that you can consider for this fight. The fight does not have any complex mechanics and boss attacks are mainly single target. During its force time, all its attack will be upgraded to the Deadly Helical Dive Plus, which is a double single target Brave plus HP which ignore both Brave and HP reduction effects. This attack will also bypass Last Stand mechanics which will result a unit to KO. It is best to either evade the boss attacks, disable their attack or negate their Brave gains. For evasion units, you can consider Kelger, Glove, Redia, 8, Edge, Cater, Sice or even Kamari. For Brave control utility, you can consider Karasame, Setzer, Iris, or Sephiroth. To cancel the boss force time, you need to use a melee FR. Examples are Kelger, Jilnabate, Pain, Reno, Rex, Queen, Orin or Zack. If you are doing off-turn damage, you can use Machina, Beatrix, Orin, Core, Ruby Conte, Ace, 7 or Dorgan. If you are using hit and counter tank like Ruby Conte, Beatrix, or Orin, make sure you activate their force time before the boss activate theirs. If you want to use them, you need to make use of burst phase and summon to get your force time up before the boss activate theirs. Other than that, the fight does not have any troublesome mechanics. If you have key utility to handle this fight, you will be fine for this. As we are no longer have Lufania Plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. As your party has low force levels, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss will also gain 4% charge rate up when your party members act. When the force gauges reach 20%, 50%, or 80%, the boss will trigger Cut in Turn Order. Cut in Turn Order will result the boss gains Brave that equates to 150% of its initial Brave and warp its turn before the unit that it is targeting. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, the boss will use its force ability, Black Candela, which is a single target magic Brave plus HP attack. Upon using the force ability, the boss will enter into its force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 20 on its gauge. When the force time is activated, the bosses will gain an enhancement that will reduces your party brave damage by 90% and all the boss attacks will be replaced with the deadly Helical Dive Plus. Helical Dive Plus is a single target brave plus HP attack that ignores brave and HP nullification effects. Even units with Last Stand, Gladio, or Ruby Conte cannot survive this attack. To handle the attack, you can either evade the attacks, freeze their brave gains or stun lock them with HP silence or turn disable debuff. To deal the boss force weakness, you need to use a melee force ability. If you have been playing the game for a while, this shouldn't be a difficulty to handle it. Now, let us go through the fight key mechanics. The fight does not have a lot of mechanics to take note of. The boss has a standard attack rotation of Helical Dive and Arrow. Helical Dive is a single target melee brave plus HP attack. Arrow is a single target magic wind brave attack. If the boss brave is high, it will be replaced with Ram. While its force time is active, any actions taken by the boss will be replaced with the Helical Dive Plus. To handle this fight, you can either evade the boss attacks with evasion specialist like Kelger, Rydia, Edge, or Yuri if you have his BT aura active. Evasion lock and counters unit like 8 or Cater also works well here. You can tank the boss Helical Dive by either freezing their brave gains with brave gain control utility like freeze debuffs or a BT aura like Iris that set their brave parameters to 0. Immortal units will also work well here like Golov, Zack, or Ram. Queen can temporarily activate her immortality by entering her Risatsu arousal state with her EX. You can also choose to stun lock the boss with HP silence mechanics or turn disable debuff while attack them like standstill targets. With the boss mechanics explained, let us proceed to the unit FR Burst Kit review. Before I end the guide, let us cover a bit on the featured FRBT unit, Kelger. The other featured unit, Machina, may be a dated unit kit and has no FR echo. He is still a great addition if you have not clear Dimensions and Transcendence tier 13, but please be warned that there will be a lot of setup requirement. As Kelger is a new unit, I will give a quick overview on his kit. He is a melee-based evasion counter tank and can solo a lot of future events. He will make your job of collecting red crystal sparkles a lot easier, so it is highly worthwhile to go max investment on him. Newcomers will benefit greatly from adding him to their roster since he can support of bronze carry runs. Likewise, if the boss has lots of guaranteed hit attacks, he will become a liability for the fight. His mechanics favors him more as a solo specialist than building a team comp matching his strengths. His S1, Impact Cut, a single target brave plus HP attack executed 8 times and increases his brave by 20% of HP damage dealt after each HP attack. It will grant him his framed buff, Final Will of the Dawn, for 6 turns. His S2, Tri-Element, is a melee AoE brave plus HP attack executed 4 times and increases his brave by 50% of HP damage dealt after each HP attack. The attack also grants his framed buff, Final Will of Dawn, for 6 turns. The buff, Final Will of Dawn, is an important buff for Kelger. The buff will allow you to trigger his first strike attack before enemy's turn and raises his attack and max brave by 20%. Before an enemy action, first strike will trigger a gravity shave that reduces the target brave by 400% of Kelger's attack and increase Kelger's brave by 400% of his attack and deal single target HP executed 4 times, which does not consume Kelger's brave. If his BT aura is active, he will trigger this twice. His AA will raise the party HP damage resist by 40%, raises attack and brave damage cap by 20% that last for 5 turns. His EX ability, Wolf Scale, is an AoE brave plus HP attack executed 6 times that increase his brave by 20% HP damage dealt. It will grant his Swift Wolf buff for 6 turns, which grant him 100% evasion, aura lock to targets, and raises his attack, max brave, stolen and gain brave overflow by 20%. It also raises his HP damage by 30%. His LD, Requiem Slash is an AoE Brave plus HP executed 5 times and increase Kelger's Brave by 20% HP damage dealt. It also restores 1 skill uses of his S1 and S2. The buff will grant his overhead buff which lasts for 12 turns. The overhead buff will also allow Kelger to counter upon evasion. The buff will also raise his Brave damage and stolen Brave damage by 50%, raises HP damage and Brave gains by 30%. With his overhead buff active, upon evading an attack, Kelger will counter with Shadow Wolf. Shadow Wolf will result Kelger increase Brave by 200% off his attack stats, followed by Brave plus HP attack execute 3 times with 50% splash damage and increase Kelger's Brave by 50% of HP damage dealt after each HP attack. Okay, now let us proceed to talk about his FR. Let me talk briefly about his FR conditions. His FR is a melee Brave plus HP executed 4 times and it will raise the party HP damage and max Brave cap by 20% during his force time. His FR has the following conditions. You will get 5% HP damage bonus for using a melee ability which also applies to off-turn attacks. Kelger will get an additional 5% HP damage bonus. In other words, for every first strike and Shadow Wolf counter triggers, you will get 10% HP damage bonus. To take advantage of the HP damage bonus conditions, you can make use of melee-based trap debuffs like Sice or Machina or melee-based preemptive strike attacks or follow-up attackers like Core, Weiss, or Vayne. For the other condition, you will get 50% HP damage bonus upon evading a boss attack. Here is a simple illustration of how his force time will gain. When the boss is about to take a turn, Kelger will trigger first strike which gains you 10% HP damage bonus. The boss will act and attack Kelger. Kelger evades the attack which will get you 50% HP damage bonus. Kelger will counter with Shadow Wolf, which will get 10% HP damage bonus. So, for every boss turn action, you will get 70% HP damage bonus. If you have his BT aura active, you will get 80% HP damage bonus. However, when Kelger takes a turn, you will only get 10% HP damage bonus. This is an off-turn FR that favors heavily on Kelger's off-turn mechanics. This is the reason why you probably find runs that feature Kelger are mainly solo. Let me cover a bit on his BT aura. The BT aura lasts 6 turns. Like most BT, Kelger BT gives the following aura upon activation. It will raise the party's max Brave cap by 30%, HP damage by 20%, Brave damage by 30% and Brave damage cap by 50%. While his BT aura is active, along with his overhead buff and key buffs active, he will trigger his first strike twice. So, is Kelger a worthy investment? He will help a lot for grinding red crystal sparkles since he can easily solo a SHINRYU fight that has minimal guaranteed hit attacks. You can make use of damage mitigation calls like Gladio LDCA, Ragin LDCA, Reno LDCA, Warrior of Light LDCA or even a simple Setzer Freeze Joker to survive those guaranteed hit attacks. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.